Let me scooch over here.
Yeah.
Stay on my side.
I'm a bed hog. So I sleep.
She says I am too, but I'm not that much of a bed hog. But anyway. Oh,
I know I'm a bed hog, so I feel
Really?
sorry for anybody. If they not used to sleeping on the sliver, then it's not going to work.
Do you like when you have somebody over, or if you're over someone, do you like to cuddle? Or
Yeah.
You're not a cuddle.
I'm a sleep all the way under you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get in your skin with you.
Yeah, see, I'm okay with that.
I'm gonna get right underneath your skin with you.
My wife ain't like that, though,
Yeah.
but I'm okay with that.
And you're gonna have a sliver, and then the whole other side of the bed is gonna be empty.
Right. And both of y'all gonna be right on the edge, on one edge, right?
Right there. And on top of that, I'm gonna have all the blankets. I'll be like, she is just ruthless with this whole thing.
Just greedy.
It's greedy.
Yeah.
I've had company over at somebody's house and pushed them to the edge and had all the blankets. They just crossed over and went back to the other side and got back comfortable and took the blanket that I had on the other side. Like, dang, I'm just ruthless with it.
Yeah, I think I'm a little bit of my wife calls me a cover hog, or she says I'm a burrito because I wrap myself up like a burrito.
A burrito?
And can't nobody, so we have our own covers. Like she has, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not the bottom sheets are just the sheets on the bed, but
top,
comforters we have our own.
No fighting.
Yeah, no fighting. She has her own, I have my own, which that's fine, works out. And because sometimes, you want that extra sheet, and sometimes you don't, and sometimes, so it's all good.
Right. Yeah.
And then there's times when, like, it's hot, so you can just, like...
That's what I was going to
You
say.
can take it off, and then if it gets cold in the night, then you just go ahead and put it back on you. Like, you don't have to worry about sharing or anything, so it works out.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. The temperature.
Yeah.
I know a lot of times the biggest thing is one person's hot, one person's cold all the time.
Yep.
And I'm the cold one all the time. I think that's why I bundle up so much, because I was just
trying to get
the body heat.
Yeah.
So, and then the person gets hot and they kick the covers off.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Then it just doesn't work out.
That's true.
And don't work out. So that makes sense. So that will work.
Yeah.
If I have my own blanket, that will work.
Yeah, that would work. So try that.
I will.
That.
I am.
Yeah.
Well, at this point, I don't got to worry about it. All the blankets belong to me. So I don't give a damn. You at my house, you're going to deal with it or take your ass on the couch.
For real. Okay, let's go ahead and get into these topics.
News and noteworthy. The Shiznit.
So we have yet another school shooting.
Oh, man.
Yeah, did you hear about this one happened
You
Friday?
know what? I didn't hear about it until Saturday. But the only reason I was so busy with the festival, and I think the only reason why I even heard about it was because I was like going through the royal wedding.
Okay.
And then somebody was like, everybody's talking about the royal wedding, but nobody's talking about the school shooting. And I was like, what school shooting?
Yeah.
And then, I was really late. I didn't hear about it.
Yeah.
Propaganda, that's all I'm going to say.
Demetrius Pogorchis, 17, shot up his school in Texas, Santa Fe, Texas. 10 dead and 10 wounded.
This is so sad.
Yeah, it's a little sad, and it's also, what's also sad is the fact that now a lot of the newscasters were asking some of the kids, oh, did this catch you unprepared? Like, oh, why me? Or I can't believe this is happening to us. And a lot of kids were responding, no.
What?
No, they were like, because it happens all the time. And she's like, I figured that it eventually could happen here. Like, why not? It happens everywhere. So it was very scary. And I was very scared, but I wasn't like, oh, I can't believe this is happening. No, not at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
They're getting just used to it.
Kind of.
Wow, that's so sad.
Yeah. So let me see. I have a clip.
Wow.
This is our Western edition. We are at Santa Fe High School, about 30 miles southeast of Houston, the scene of the latest mass shooting in America. At least 10 people were killed, 9 students and 1 adult today. 10 others were hurt. We are just beginning to learn the identities of the dead, among them Ann Perkins, a substitute teacher, and Sabika Sheikh, an exchange student from Pakistan. Police say the gunman in custody tonight is a 17-year-old junior at the school. They say he was armed with his father's shotgun and a revolver. And police are searching the suspect's car and his parents' homes tonight.
He had a car?
They're having a shooting at the high school, have an officer down, shooter not in custody.
The chaos played out over police radio calls.
Shots fired. We have several shots fired. Possibly one or two rooms in this area that we're at. Full shooting, have active shooting, several people down. He's actually shooting. He's in the art room. We have shots fired right now, guys.
Police say the shooter had a shotgun and a revolver and began shooting just as first period started. Sophomore Dakota Schrader was in the building.
As soon as the alarms went off, everybody just started running outside, and next thing you know, everybody looks, and you hear boom, 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 and I just ran as fast as I could to the nearest forest so I could hide, and I called my mom.
Paige Curry called her mother, too.
I told her, Mom, there are gunshots. I heard 4 shots. And it was real. It was real this time.
The 10 wounded were rushed to area hospitals, including John Barnes, a former 20-year Houston policeman who worked as a school resource officer. Fleeing students were huddled onto fields away from the school as parents raced to the scene looking for kids.
Told her to stay calm, to breathe, and just waiting and waiting and waiting, and finally they were leading her out of the school. Thank God she's okay.
30 minutes after the first call, the shooting was over, but the threat was not. School District Police Chief Walter Braun.
There have been explosive devices found in the high school.
Wow.
And surrounding areas adjacent to the high school.
The devices included pressure cookers and pipe bombs. Police say the 17-year-old suspected gunman, Dimitrios Progorchis, was a student at Santa Fe High. Another student has been detained as a person of interest. Texas Governor Greg Abbott said the shooter wanted to commit suicide.
He gave himself up and admitted at the time that he didn't have the courage to commit the suicide, that he wanted to take his own life earlier.
It's been happening everywhere. I've always kind of felt like eventually it was going to happen here too. So, I don't know. I wasn't surprised, I was just scared.
Back in April, some Santa Fe students joined a nationwide school walkout to protest gun violence in the wake of the massacre at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High in Parkland, Florida. Today, Stoneman Douglas students tweeted their support for Santa Fe, one saying, "I should be celebrating my last day of high school, but instead my heart is broken to hear of the tragedy at Santa Fe."
This was they said that this was the worst school shooting since the Parkland incident that sparked all of the protests and everything a few months back.
That was terrible.
Well, did you notice, when you were listening to this story, did anything stick out to you? Did you notice anything different about this one than all the other mass shootings?
The explosives?
That's one thing, but something else along those lines. This is the thing that's different. And it goes back to what I've been preaching about since we've been covering these. This particular boy did not use the quote unquote assault rifle. He did not use a quote unquote, military style, an AR-15. He had a revolver and a shotgun.
You have to keep loading
the slowest manual guns out there. Like, wow. He had a pump shotgun and a revolver, like not even a 9mm. Right. And he still killed 10 people and wounded 10. So this is what I've been saying about. This is why legislation directed towards one type of gun is ridiculous. Right. Because why would you do that? Why would you spend all this time and legislate pick on one gun when any gun can be used to do the same thing? You know what I mean? Just because that was the gun of choice or the most popular for these things, for these people, it doesn't mean that it's that gun's fault. You know what I mean? It's just, it happens to be what they chose. You see this person here, this kid, and again, he got it from his parents, his father, which was legally purchased, which is the other thing I've been preaching about. Make these parents responsible, hold them accountable for their kids being able to access their weapons, right? And stop focusing on one particular type of weapon. These are all the things that Dino Red has been telling y'all about, for the longest.
That's true.
And so here we go. A perfect example of somebody using a semi-automatic
weapon,
a quote unquote assault style, military style weapon to harm many people.
Yeah, that's a good point you made. Those two type of weapons are like the slowest ones. You have to reload them each time. Yeah. Which also makes me to think that he had some serious planning. And not only that, he was committed. Because in order to sit there and keep reloading and keep shooting people and keep reloading and keep shooting people.
Yeah.
And
I'm not so sure he had to reload that many times, only because like a revolver
has 9, right?
Has at least 6.
Okay.
At least 6. So it was a 38 that he used. I don't know what model, so I don't know exactly how many shots he had, but he had at least 6. And then a shotgun probably holds another 5 or 6 as well. So he could have realistically.
It holds 5 or 6?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it was 2 at a time.
No. It holds 5 or 6, but you have to
you
have to pump in between
time.
every shot. You can't like spray.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's not semi-automatic. It's manual. So once you shoot, you manually have to load it again with that pump. You know, you hear that? That's that sound you hear. You know, that's when you break in somebody's house and they hear that. You know, they're like, oh shit, let me get out of here. But yeah, and so he realistically could have, you know, did all that damage with maybe only reloading one time. You know, because 10 and 10. That's like, because they also count people, like we talked about in another story. They don't say 10, they say 10 people were killed and then 10 people were wounded. They don't say those, it doesn't mean that those 10 people were actually shot. Right. They could have been trampled. Right. They could have gotten hit with shrapnel from glass, any number of different things. Yeah. So it really could have happened with him never reloading at all. But anyway, the point is, stop focusing and picking on one type of gun and get your legislation right and you know, do some intelligent research and have some intelligent legislation that really addresses the problem and not you know, do stuff that's good for sound bites and good to catch headlines in the media and stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean?
For just to get some votes and some clout.
Right.
Here's the thing that I'm interested about. A lot of times when we have these shootings, the gunman either gets killed or commits suicide. So we never really have a true intention. We never really know the stimulus behind the entire act. So they have this young man in custody. Hopefully we will get to hear find out his why. And maybe then we can begin to, you know what I'm saying, understand why these things happen and why they keep happening. Because I can't understand why somebody 17 years old with their whole life ahead of them would go to their school and shoot an art teacher or shoot teachers and students. And then they took another person to jail as a person of interest. So that makes me think that, okay, he had 2 guns and maybe he was going to give 1 gun to somebody, because this also isn't the first shooting where there have been 2 people shooting, right?
Oh, no. There's one of the ones that kind of started it all off.
Columbine.
There was
2
or 3 of them.
Yeah. So that makes me think that it was more people involved. They had bombs spread inside the school, outside of the school. That means they didn't care who or what. So I want to know why. And I'm very interested to hear what this young man has to say. Yeah,
that's a good point. And it is interesting. And I am very interested, too, to hear the why, because so many times we don't get a why. You know, we don't get a why. And a lot of times it seems like in a lot of these cases, it's about bullying, you know, that has part of it. My thing is, I don't think with most of these, I don't think it's any one thing. You know, I think that's part of the problem, that we're looking for like one quick answer or one thing. Okay, it's this gun's fault. You know, so let's just get rid of this gun and it'll stop. Or it's the bullying. Well, you know what? Bullying's been around since forever.
Exactly.
Bullying's been around for as long as people have been around.
And then another thing about bullying is, if you are getting bullied, why would you take the guns to school and then shoot everybody? Why not go shoot the bullies? Right. Exactly. So I have questions.
And in this one, they don't even think there doesn't seem to be any sign of bullying. And not only that, what's also disturbing is they say that there was no signs with this kid. They said he was introverted. You know, he kept to himself. But and one teacher even specifically said he was quiet, but not quiet in a creepy way. Just quiet in a normal way. Yeah. Like she was one of his teachers. Right. You know, some people are more outgoing than others. You know, not every person who's a little shy or reserved is a weirdo. Right. But they said no one saw any signs of this kid at all. Like now his sister, on the other hand, who's a few years older than him, she was bullied so badly they say that she had to actually go to another school.
Wow.
So I don't know if that plays a part in it. Maybe, who knows? Maybe he felt